So, today we are going to talk about misconceptions about hypnosis. So, Pete, what are some of the most common misconceptions that you know about?
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest ones is still the mind control. Um, because it was actually pretty recently. I had someone who was like, "I'm afraid you're gonna get my bank account information from me," um, and I had to be like, that's not how it works. Like, where did you hear that? And pretty much they were like, "Well, TV and movies," you know, um, and I really had to have them understand that I'm not here to take over their mind, right? Um, I think like anyone, if I had mind control powers, I would be at a different level in existence, right? Because nobody in this world has that ability to actually control your mind. At least no one I've met or even heard of. You know, really how I word it with her is I'm more like just a GPS. Right? I'm saying, hey, let's go into your mind together, right? You still have control of the wheel. You get to determine how fast we go, how slow we go. But I understand there's going to be moments where I'm going to say, hey, let's take a left turn here. And as long as you follow along, just like the GPS, I know the fastest route to where you want to be. You know, but at any moment, you can slam on the brakes. You can open your eyes. You can say, I'm done. My job is to have you not want to do that, to really enjoy the process, to enjoy the changes and how everything works. And um, but yeah, mind control for me tends to be the most popular one where people are like, I'm scared. You're gonna make me tell you something, right? That's against my control. And having them feel really assured in that is super important for me. You know,
So, I think that obviously people think about it that way because of, like you said, the movies and TV shows, but also because of like stage hypnosis. So, if hypnosis is not mind control, then how come people are doing things that they wouldn't normally do with stage hypnosis?
and that comes down for me the framing, like the context of it all, right? Stage shows in general are designed and framed to be for entertainment, to do the unexpected, right? But even when you look at a stage show, they bring what, maybe 50 people up on stage. Quite a few of them get taken off the stage. They're kind of like, hey, go sit back down in the audience, right? And then they really end up only working with the top maybe 5, 6 people, right? Because there are certain people in this world who are naturally geared to being part of the experience a lot easier. Now, when it comes to what we do in our offices, right? We're not here to make people quack like a duck, bark like a dog, to sing a song, right? We're here to make certain and specific changes. And if we're on the framing of we're here to help you lose weight or stop smoking or help anxiety, anything, and we go, now you're going to bark like a dog, unless it has really good framing around it to help them with those things, it won't happen, right? But in a stage show, again, like people are going to be entertained. You don't go to a stage show and go, I'm not going to be entertained, right? When you go with that frame, that expectation, right, then you get to fall into it. You get to go along with it. And that's why a lot of those people are doing those crazy and fun and amazing things, because just like, when they're in our office, they're just being guided on this route to find an entertainment. But any moment they could be like, nope, I'm not doing that. Go remove themselves out of the trance and go sit down in the audience, right? But you just typically not see that part when you watch stage shows like on YouTube or stuff like that. They show you the cream of the crop, the juicy stuff. They don't really show you the moments where they tell people to go sit back down. So
Yeah, that makes sense. So, more about framing. What does framing have to do with hypnosis. And also, it seems like in all reality, there's not mind control, but there's definitely mind sort of suggestibility, suggestions. Maybe we're pointing in certain directions. You can actually walk whichever way you want, but we might create two signs on that fork in the road in your imagination. But that doesn't mean you have to go down it. And it doesn't mean that the signs that we've told you see are the ones you see either, unless perhaps you are really, really deep into hypnosis and the person that you've worked with has really um, got you in that kind of belief system that you are going to play along. Why I'm saying that is because I'm thinking, on one hand, it's not mind control. You can do what you want. You can come out if you want. You won't do what you don't want. However, there are those certain suggestibility tests and or other things where people literally can't see the thing in front of them or something like that. So, like, what's that distinction?
It really comes down to the motivation, and really the framing is like the core of everything, right? With a poor frame, it makes everything else harder, because then you're asking someone to do something without them knowing why they should do it to begin with, right? Because yes, like, let's say you didn't trust me and I was like, hey, let's take this side road. You might be like, no, I don't trust you yet. I don't know if I can even go with you yet, right? And so, but when I frame it of, hey, like, this road coming up, it's going to be a little dark, it's going to be a little scary, but what's on the other side is going to be the land of fortune, right? Where all good things start to happen. Now you're like, okay, so I know it's going to be dark and scary. I know there might be some tough times, but what's on the other side is definitely worth it for me. And if you add trust on top of that, knowing that we're going down it together, now you're more than willing, right, to go down that road. That is the importance of framing, right? It sets the tone for what comes next. You typically, in all the sessions I do, I won't just do something unless there's a purpose to it, right? But in general, it's I'll let my client know what's going to happen before it happens, right? So they can really decide, is this the path I want to go down, right? So it's like, in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, we're going to go down this trail in the woods. And on this trail, we're going to see different animals and meet people and see, sun moments and fields and meadows. But there's also going to be maybe those trolls with bridges, right? You're letting them know what they're going to experience on the journey. And when they go, okay, right, I'm okay with that. Now that's the framing of it. You've framed their experience and they're going to go with you, right? But if you just went, hey, right there's an ogre, they might be like, oh my goodness, right? There's an ogre, that's scary. And then they'll pull themselves out of it because they weren't expecting it, because they didn't know what was coming, And so with that's how you can build those other things. And then when it comes to the suggestibility exercises, in my experience, as long as you frame it really well, they will always succeed in what you're asking, right? One of my favorite ones is like the finger clasp, where the fingers are going to come together, right? I will never do that exercise unless I have shown them first what I want to happen, right? Because that removes doubt in their mind of, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What does Pete expect of me? What doesn't he expect of me? I get to show them first. Like, in a moment, they're just going to come together like this. I just want you to imagine a magnet in each spot. I want you to look at the space in between and just watch it happen, right? Doing stuff like that, when you frame it that way, they will always be successful, right? Because now they know. It's not scary. It's not wonder. It's not, these thoughts of doubts of like, am I able to do this, right? When I go, in a moment, I'm going to have you close your eyes. I will always close my eyes first, and I'll go, and all I can do is relax them. So maybe your eyebrows go up and down, but the rest of you just nice and relaxed, like a garage door opener, right? When you show them, they now know, right? So when you go through, again, an exercise, whether it's, hey, in a moment, I'm going to have you see yourself already being on the other side of this situation. Let's take a moment to see what that's like, right? Now they know what's going to happen, right? They get to decide in that moment of, am I going to take this left-hand turn or not, right? Just like a GPS doesn't go, take a left-hand turn now, right? It says in 500 feet, you're going to take a left. At the next set of lights, you're going to take a right, right? We want to do the same thing. We want them to know when to turn, what going to be at the intersection, all of that, so they can make the choice. And once they make the choice, they're in, right? And they will do and be successful in everything we ask them to do. So framing for me beats everything. I would rather spend 35 minutes framing and 20 minutes of actual hypnosis exercise, because they will be way more successful doing it that way. And then 5 minutes of framing and 45 minutes of them not knowing if it's a road they want to go down.
Cool. That makes sense. I want to stay on the topic of the misconceptions about hypnosis, but I want to just briefly veer and from that topic and just say, what could you say about using the framing techniques that a practitioner uses with a client for yourself, for your own self hypnosis, and ways to help get you to the place that you're trying to get to, whether you have obstacles you need to get through, or healing you need to get through? How can you use that framing tool as a tool?
Yeah, with when especially comes like to whether it be meditation, self hypnosis, even just any self work that we can do, knowing the outcome we're going for, right? Because it's one I've learned over the years. When we know what we're working towards, we can determine who we need to be to reach that goal, right? Because the truth is, who we are now isn't that person. Otherwise, we'd have it, right? And so when we get to look at that, we get to begin to go, okay, who do I need to be to reach that, right? That's when we get to look at things going, okay, so maybe that person is more confident, right? When that person hits an obstacle, because there will always be an obstacle, how does that person handle that obstacle? Now, one of the exercises I do more so when we're working on very specific things like this is I allow people to create like a list, right? There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong, right? Like, let's say you're working on confidence and the obstacle you hit is someone telling you that they hate the shirt you wear, right? You get to look at that and go, okay, so how would a confident person respond? One, they could be punch them in the face. Two could be walk away. Three could be, I don't care what you think. It could be, I'll make fun of his shirt, right? They're all, right? Some are better than others, but they're all allowed on the list. And then you go, okay, so out of that list, if I punch him in the face, what are the pros and cons, right? And as a pros and cons, is that something a confident person would choose, right? Are the pros worth that con? No, yes, no, right? However it goes down, you go through that list. Then you get to choose, right? Now you're choosing that road you're going to go down, right? So, in that example, it would be like, I ignore them. Like, I don't care what they think, right? As a confident person, if they don't like my shirt, cool, right? It's my shirt's not for them. It's for me. All right. So my pros to that is I still get to be me, right? Cons might be I'm going to meet more people who may not like my style, right? That could be a con. But if I go, you know what? I'm happy because I'm wearing what I want to wear. That's worth the con, right? So I go, that's the one I'll choose, right? So now I can go, okay, going into self-hypnosis, seeing myself respond that way every time someone criticizes not just my shirt, Maybe it's my hairstyle, maybe it's my pants, my shoes, my car, the way I move my hands, or whatever, right? Whatever they criticize, I go, that was the best option. Let me try it out, right? Let me see. Okay. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, whatever. Your opinion. And I go on my way, right? And I go, yeah, felt pretty good, right? Could make it better, though, right? Maybe I won't hem and ha. I'll just be like, that's cool, man, right? And I just carry on. I go, oh, that was a little bit better. You just see yourself doing it more and more, getting better and better, right? Because someone may choose, oh, a confident person would punch them in the face, right? They may choose that. And then they go, okay, so there makes fun of the shirt, bam, punch them in the face. Oh, now I'm arrested. That's not good, right? But they may need to go through that imaginative side of it to really see if it fits them, right?
So, okay, like, so for someone who wants to use, excuse me, some self hypnosis, one thing that they could start doing is think for themselves, what is this? What is something that I would like to work through? And instead of using that rational conscious mind that thinks, that judges, that makes all of these things, you are going to go through imagining how it happens, right? And just by doing that, your whole body and mind will be able to kind of feel the experience more than like that rational conscious mind doing, I'm not exactly sure what, just judging and in that kind of way. So the framing still is kind of in a conscious, it almost seems somewhat like the conscious mind is doing some framing for you as you're kind of negotiating what you want to work with, and then the various outcomes, and then you try them on.
Yep.
And often you might find through, and this doesn't have to happen through like a deep 20 minutes of relaxing yourself or anything. This is just simply going through a process of, I have something I want to work on. Here are some options. I think I could do it this way, or this way. Okay, I'm going to try it out. And once you go into your imagination, which taps you into your subconscious, you um you might find that the answer, the way that you decided to go, something will show up that was not expected.
Right.
So it seems to me in that way, you it's kind of like the framing is this, conscious, setup. But then as soon as you tap into your imagination, then the subconscious will show what it does, and it might surprise you or feel good. And it seems to me with the framing too, you might, because you're going into the imagination and the creative opposed to the rational, or what your limitations think you might be able to do, by doing that. So for example, I really want to make this big move, but it scares me. So um what would it look like if I wasn't scared, or something?
Yeah, or so
And
like
then,
this is one where I'll take from like Bob Proctor used to talk about it a lot, and I love is he go, if you already made that big move, how would that change your life? Right. So let's say the move is a physical move like a house, right? You may go, well, now I'm closer to work, right? It could be I have more status. It could be, well, now I get to focus on like a home office, and we go, okay, so what kind of person would want a home office like that? Oh, someone who's dedicated to their craft, right? Something like that. You go, okay, so how does that person feel about the whole move, right? And they go, well, that person's excited. That person is an action taker, right? That person could be confident, right? Or they go, even though they didn't know how the move would go, they didn't let that stop them, right? So as we know all of that, then it goes, okay, so what are options to overcome this obstacle to get there, right? And it could be getting, if it's like, say, a house, could be getting a loan, right? It could be leaving a place that you've been in for 25 years, right? It could be even getting a new job, right? It could be downgrading other parts of our lifestyle. And so we do out the entire list of things we can do. And then we look at it and go, okay, so getting a loan. The pros of a loan is the money is secure. Cons of a loan, I owe someone for the next 30 years of my life, right? And it could probably other ones, right? When it comes to other areas of like, oh, I need to get a new job, right? It could be, well, it might take me months. That could be a big con, right? It could be, a pro could be commute will be half the time if I stay at my other job, right? There's so many things that we go, okay, which one's the best option, right? Which is the best one? Now, it might not just be one. It could be two of them, right? We get to go, oh, man, I'll get the loan and I'll be 15 minutes closer, which means I'll save more money. And right, we get to find the best one. And so then, yes, when we go into self-hypnosis, there has to be part of our conscious mind active at all times. It's why certain work can't be done through self-hypnosis. You need to go to someone who kind of you trust to take over the reins so you can go to those deeper levels without your conscious involvement. But for most things like this is, yes, you know now the route to take and the options, and you get to go, okay, bring myself in, still having to have that conscious awareness type of thing and going, okay, so as I do this, how do I feel? Does it feel like that person who's already done it? If the answer is yes, we get to really reaffirm that that's a good choice, right? And then once we choose it, we stick with it, right? We stick with it until we either say it's not working and really not working, not going, well, I tried. It's, you know what? I gave it 110% and I gave it enough time and it's not working. I got to change something up, right? But then you just go through it more and more times. Our mind thrives on repetition, right? The more we practice something in our mind, the more we can control it in our everyday mundane life.
Which is the same for if our mind likes repetition, that is what has been seen as the truth, then we should be really careful what we repeat in our mind and in our habits.
Yes.
In a major way. So
Yeah.
we have just a few more minutes. Let's move back to misconceptions about hypnosis. And we had talked about mind control and being a main thing that people are really worried about, or that, you might tell them to do certain things, give them certain things that they wouldn't want to do. What are a few other ones?
Yeah, I say the other big one that I get still is, will I get stuck in hypnosis? That is one I'd say in the 90s, particularly when Office Space came out. The hypnotist had a heart attack, fell on the floor, and the guy was just in hypnosis. I think it was for weeks, right? And I always tell people, I say, if I have a heart attack, one or two things will happen. You will either go, I'm really comfortable, I'm really calm and quiet, and you might fall asleep, right? But when you wake up, you're going to be fully immersed and you're going to be well rested. I go, I hope you don't choose that option. The second option is you instantly kind of emerge yourself and you go, oh my God, Pete's on the floor. I better call 911. I go, that's the one I hope that happens. But the truth is you will always emerge, right? This idea that people have where if they go like, oh, I went to a stage show and this guy made someone every time he saw a banana, bark like a dog. And it was like that for weeks. Doesn't really happen, right? Can it happen? Yeah, but we have enough thought process consciously to override that to go, I don't need to bark when I see a banana. Now, when I usually say that part to people, they go, well, so if I'm a non-smoker, are you saying that could disappear? And it's like, well, essentially, yes. However, there's a big difference between you going to yourself, man, every time I see a banana, I don't want to bark like a dog, and going, oh, I don't want to smoke anymore. There's a big difference. One you want, the other one you're kind of neutral over, right? And so when we do something that really is something you want, that's what makes it powerful to long last. Now, on the other side, the only time I have ever had someone really override it is when someone like their doctor really put them down. Not what happened, but them personally, right? So I had a gentleman who quit smoking, went to his doctor, and the doctor looked at it, like he was in his chart, right? Not even looking up. All of a sudden, he just stops in his chart and he goes, "So what? This is like attempt number 10. Do you really think this is going to work?" And then just went back to reading his chart. The guy felt so defeated that his mind was like, well, maybe it didn't work. Even though he made it a month and a half out, his mind went, well, what if it didn't work? What if it doesn't last? And it put that seed of doubt in there, which was allowed to blossom. Luckily, with me, we have the lifetime guarantee. So he called me up and he was like, Pete, this happened. Right. And we got him right back on track. Right. And he didn't start smoking. And now we're talking 2-3 years ago, still not smoking. He just now knows not to listen to his doctor about certain things.
Well, definitely, yeah, not to listen to naysayers. It just shows once again just how influenced we can be, which can show up in really positive ways or negative ways, but just how influential we are, how the mind loves patterns. You can really use that to your advantage. And I'm sure that there are so many more misconceptions, but we'll just have to continue on another time. So thank you for the folks who came and listened today, and anyone else who's listening later. Always any questions that you have, whether you're a practitioner or someone interested in getting hypnosis or having gotten it yourself or anything, we're here for it. We love the questions, and we love talking about it. So we will be here again next week. And thank you, Pete, for showing up.
Thank you.
And I will end this for today, and have a great week, everybody.
You too.